All right, well, welcome everyone to the webinar. We're going to be talking about the rejection-free and fun way to attract targeted leads and recruit them into your business without being pushy, salesy, or chasing people. And I'm going to show you how to do this, and I'm going to teach you how to do this by using a case study here of how David attracted 372 targeted leads inside of 36 days, all while doing something he loves. And I'm also going to show you how I recruited 25 people in 21 days using what I call the Meetup launch method. And for those of you who have not met yet, my name is Jimmy Jays. I'm known as the highest paid Meetup organizer and consultant on the planet who is exclusively servicing the MLM industry. I'm the creator of Meetup Marketer, which is the A to Z guide on recruiting for Meetup by becoming the local trusted authority. And for the past 11 years, I've used Meetup to meet my perfect prospect. And today I'm going to show you how to do the same thing. So here's what you're going to learn by sticking around today. I'm going to show you how to tap into an existing database of prospects on meetup.com who already want what you sell, and I'm going to show you how I do it for free. I'm going to share with you the rejection-free way that you can get leads. I'm going to show you what I call the 2-minute presentation, which is how you can literally sort through people inside of 2 minutes. And I'm going to show you how to become what I call celebrity authority so that you have prospects who are chasing you rather than you chasing prospects. And by the end of the webinar today, I'm going to share with you a simple strategy you can do with you and a small handful of people inside of your team that will allow you to have a 50,000 person prospect pool for you and your team in 2017. And I know that is a very big promise, but I'm going to show you exactly what to do in order to do that. So my question to you here is, if I can show you how to have a 50,000 person prospect pool specifically for you and your team, and you can see how to do that here in the next probably 90 minutes as we go through this presentation, who here is ready to not only stay to the end, but stay to the end and be present, take notes, be ready to roll. If you can see that, type in a number 1 if you're ready to be present and stay to the end. If I can deliver on this promise. Lynn says 1, Shannon 1, Kelsey 1, Cam Num, Pam, Arlene, Melissa has like 11 ones, I think. So I think she's in. Notebook is ready, says Trisha. All right, well, listen, let's get rolling. So why is this important right now? Well, most of what we learned about prospecting and recruiting is dead wrong. There's more MLM companies and there's more reps than ever before in the history. In fact, the DSA, the Direct Selling Organization, just came out and said that there's 89 million network marketers on the planet, and they're fighting for the attention of the exact same prospects. And so we need to find a way for you to stand out from the crowd. And social media has made it easy for prospects to find and join the gurus online who have big marketing budgets and who have, track records of success, rather than joining rather than joining anyone else out there. They can go and find these online gurus who have, massive, hundreds of thousands of dollars in their marketing budget. So if you've been calling the same people over and over for months and months or years like I did, then this training is for you. If you want to be the local trusted authority and consistently recruit new reps into your business, then this is for you. If your downline is wondering why you don't have more guests at events or why you're not recruiting more people, and what you really want is a predictable stream of prospects so that you can recruit more and lead by example, then this is for you. And if you've been taught to talk to the person behind you at the grocery store or Facebook spam people, and what you really like to do is add value and build authority with your prospects, well, I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you've ever wondered, is this person screening my calls? Right? Is my friend not answering the phone when I'm calling them because they're afraid of a pitch? Well, this is for you because you're going to discover a method that will allow you to only call people who have already requested your help. So that is, if you meet any of those categories, then you're going to really enjoy today's webinar. Here's some house rules. So it's not for you if any of these things apply. So number 1, this is not get rich quick. You're still going to have to put in some effort. I'm going to show you how to get some leverage in prospecting groups rather than prospecting one at a time. But it still takes time to add value. And so if you're, in the get rich quick kind of zone, then, log off. It's not for you. If you are what I call a taker, which is somebody who they're just worried about their own agenda, right? How quickly can I go from meeting somebody to getting their credit card number and just, only focusing on my agenda? Then Meetup will not work for you. no follow-up until they're dead or joiners. So I was taught, and I followed the advice of that I should just call somebody over and over and over until they either were dead or joined my company. And I would recite things like, the fortune is in the follow-up, and there is some truth to that, but I did it to the extreme where I just called the same people over and over and over again. And if that is who you are, or that's what you want to do, then this is not for you. What I want to share with you, and who I want to relate to today, are people who want to be getting in front of new people and sharing their opportunity with a constant stream of new people, so they're not bugging and calling people to the point of harassment. And lastly, my results aren't even remotely typical. So I think I shared with you earlier that I've done $12 million inside of sales in the last couple of years inside of network marketing. I have recruited 25 people in 21 days through Meetup. And having said that, my results, disclaimer, are not typical. And, most people who buy any how to make money training on anything will not make any money whatsoever. For the same reason I believe that most people who buy treadmills don't lose any weight, because you have to put the work in. So those are the house rules. And a quick confession: if the city that you live in has less than 60,000 people in it, or if you live more than an hour away from a big city, then what I'm going to share with you will not work for you. At the very least, it won't work to the same level that the examples I'm going to give you today are. Okay, so that is it. So let's get rolling here. This is the simplest version that I can explain network marketing, of what happens to most people, where they get stuck. Is you start in network marketing and you've got this goal, the top of the mountain goal, and you see, maybe it's the first time you've ever seen a business before, and you set this goal of, if I could make X number of dollars, it would allow me to blank. It would allow me to be able to retire myself. It would allow me to be able to be a full-time parent, or it meant that I could travel, pay my kids through college, buy that new vehicle, retire my parents, which is one of my goals. So, whatever that goal is. And we start on this trip up the side of the mountain. And as we're going up the side of the mountain, we've got our supplies. When you first start in network marketing, you got your little bag of supplies that you're using to go to the top of the mountain. And go ahead and type into the question box, what are your supplies? What are your tools, your supplies in network marketing when you're heading up the hill? I want to hear some answers here. What do you guys think? We got mouth, we got so talking to people, books, webcasts, attitude, mentors. What are your supplies? We got catalog, demo equipment, books and CDs, my experience, system tools. Lynn, there it is, list of prospects. So you might have some different tools, and we've got lots of different things here. We've got books, webcasts, attitudes, catalogs, demo equipment, CDs, right? But samples, business cards, but all of those things are useless unless you have people to give them to or use them with. So really, your number one supply that you have is your prospects, your list of prospects, your friends and family. And for most people in network marketing, they get started on this journey, and whatever their original list is, the friends and family and their warm market that they had when they first joined the business, there isn't enough supplies there to get them to the top of the mountain. And so once they realize that, once they're halfway on this journey and they go, man, I'm out of people to talk to, I'm out of warm market, there's three different responses. The first response is the quitter. And the quitter gets halfway up the mountain and they say, well, you know what? I made some calls and it didn't work. And the truth was that it didn't work. The truth is this: they didn't talk to enough people. And so type of person number one just turns around and they quit and they leave the industry. And some of them, badmouth it, and some of them just say, it didn't work for them. The second type of person is what I call the settler. And the settler doesn't quit, but halfway up the mountain, they run out of names and they don't know who to talk to. And so they don't quit the industry, they just quit on their original goal. So whatever that first dream or goal that they had was, they quit on that. And they say, you know what, I'm not going to quit this business. I still believe in it, but maybe I'm just not going to get to that, original goal that I set. And so they settle on the side of the mountain, and they still go to events and they still use the product and they still make an order all the time. But they've stopped trying to grow their business. And the third type of person is the one who keeps moving forward, who says, you know what, I'm going to find a way anyways, and I'm going to meet some new people, and I'm going to learn this skill set of how do I meet people in the cold market and turn them into warm market? How do I go and expand my list? And so my story was before Meetup, I made my list. I went out and enrolled my 5, which is what they taught me to do. And shortly after that, my upline quit. And I actually got a phone book and I heard somebody on a CD. And so I looked for every single name in that city to try to find the person who was on the CD that I listened to, because I wanted just anybody who could help me. And then all 5 of the people that I recruited quit. Which is a bit of a shock to me, because nobody ever told me that people, could quit when they were doing the presentation. They didn't erase any circles. And so I started to realize that there's these 3 types of people inside of network marketing. And that's when I had to make the decision of what type of a person that I wanted to be. And so I tried to meet new people. I called what I call my extended warm market, right? The people who I kind of knew, but I hadn't talked to in years. I started doubting myself in the industry. Was it me that wasn't working, or was the industry not working? I bought some cold market trainings and learned how to prospect, perfect strangers, and just little scripts of things that I could say to talk to people. And I called the same person over and over and over for 5 years. So I just followed the advice of follow up with people till they dead or they join you. And bless his heart, he kept answering the phone. But I called the same person for like 5 years until I came to the conclusion that the problem was the company that I was in, which wasn't true whatsoever. But that's the lie that I told myself, because if I changed companies, it meant that my whole warm market list, I could call them again, but this time about a different company. And so that was the solution that I chose, was changing companies and trying to just call the same old people from my same list, but through a different company. And that didn't work out so well. The bottom for me, I had quit MLM for the second time. I was living in a basement suite. I had a 6-month-old and was faced with the reality that my wife was going to have to go back to work once her maternity leave was up. And that was kind of my top of the mountain goal, was for myself and my wife to never have to, to be able to be full-time stay-at-home parents. It was about $30,000 in credit card debt from all the different stuff I had tried. And I would go to different events and I would come home and I'd be super excited about things, but I would just call the same list of people over and over and over, which just does not work. And so my turning point was when I decided to stop blindly listening to advice that felt wrong to me. I was going to stop calling the same people over and over and over again. And furthermore, I was no longer always going to be closing people. Instead, I would always add value. And so rather than just focusing on my agenda and trying to get people started, I would focus on how do I add value to the people that I meet. And I ditched the advice of don't prejudge people. I actually started prejudging people. And I became intentional about who I wanted to spend my life with, who I wanted in my business. And what that meant was that I needed to fundamentally change the way that I found prospects and change the way that I recruited. And I decided, this is important. If there's a writer downer, this is it. Stop motivating people and find motivated people. Find people that are already motivated. Find people that are already 3s, who are going to keep moving forward. And in order to find that type of person, that quality of a prospect, then you have to get in front of way more people, which is what I decided to do. So that is the quick version of my story before finding Meetup. And why do most people, become settlers or quit? There's a very few number of people that go to the top in network marketing that are the keep moving forward type. And the reason is because to decide to keep moving forward means that usually you're calling the same people over and over, that you're buying leads or Facebook spamming people, using paid advertising, talking to perfect strangers, doing all types of things like this. And those things just aren't a heck of a lot of fun. So I'm going to show you some different ways of doing things. This is actually called the recruiting quadrant. All right. So what I want to, is everybody else hearing sound okay? I've just got some comments here. One person said they didn't have sound. So if you can hear sound, let me know. Sounds good. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do here is, I'm going to put up a quick poll here. I'd love to know right now two different questions. Okay, the first one is how many friends do you have on your current names list? So the answers are that you don't have one on paper. You've got 1 through 199, 100 to 300, and 300 to 3,000, or 3,000 plus, which might seem ridiculous to some people, but if you do any type of online marketing, you might have, there might be a few that have 3,000 plus. So go ahead and type that on in. Give it 10 more seconds here. We're at a dead tie. All right, so we have the majority of people have 100 to 300 people on their list, followed very closely by 0 to 100. 20% of people do not have one on paper yet, and 15% of people have 300 plus. So fantastic. The second question that I would love to know is, let's say in 2016 until today, so a little bit of 2017 plus all of 2016, how many distributors have you personally enrolled? So not how many are in your team, how many have you personally enrolled? And we just want to take a little bit of an inventory here. It'd be cool if we could see how many people you enrolled based, compared to the size of your list, because I bet those numbers correlate pretty closely. All right, so we've got 33% so far who've said 0, 24 is 1 to 5, 38 is 6 to 30, 31 to 100 is 5%, and 100 plus is 0. So what I'd love for you guys to know is there's a training by Eric Worre called Recruit 20 in 30 Days, and he talks about the difference of what it means to recruit 20 people in 30 days versus 20 people over like a course of 20 months, 2 years. And the amount of energy and the amount of excitement that's created in your team when you can do launches like that is absolutely crazy. But in order to do that, he says that you need to have a list of 300 people or more. So what I'm going to share with you is what we can do in order to be able to grow your list. All right. So when it comes to meeting new people, there's really 4 different quadrants you can be in. So when you're recruiting new people and meeting cold market, you are either talking to people one-to-one, so one at a time, or one-to-many, where you're recruiting people in bunches or you're talking to people in groups. And the other axis here is either you're taking what's called the chasing positioning or the trusted authority positioning, meaning that either prospects are chasing you or you're chasing them. Those are the only 2 ways that it can be. And so I've named these different quadrants. So the one-to-one chasing is called the grind. One-to-many chasing is called vendor. One-to-one authority is called busy professional. And one-to-many authority is called the star quadrant. And the interesting thing is that of all the different things that we're taught about how to recruit, the majority of them are just different ways to do the same thing, different ways to operate inside of the grind quadrant. So things like Facebook messaging strangers, buying leads, the 3-foot rule where you just talk to the person who's behind you at the grocery store, or your Uber driver, or the person who sits beside you on an airplane. Those are all just different ways of talking to people one at a time and falling into what I call the chasing positioning. And I've nicknamed this the desperation quadrant because when prospects see this, they start to feel like you're desperate. The second quadrant, and this is where 99% of the grind quadrant, 99% of what we're taught as network marketers is just different ways to do this. So it's not our fault, it's what we're taught. The next one is the vendor quadrant, and this would be like if you were Facebook spamming groups or going to some networking events, if you put up a booth at a trade show. So rather than talking to people one at a time, now you're getting in front of big groups of people. And the downside is you're still in the chasing positioning. So prospects are looking at you as just another salesperson, but you're getting in front of huge majorities of people. You're getting in front of a lot more people in a shorter period of time, which means not only do you make more money, but you get leverage. So if you're in this quadrant, you can literally prospect more people in an hour than most people do in a month. So that's the leverage sales quadrant. The next one is busy professional. And this would be like if you got a great referral, if you were in a BNI group, if you had a three-way call with somebody and you were the upline, and there was somebody in your downline who connected you on the call, they edified you properly, right? And the prospect was excited to hear from you. They looked up to you as an authority. That is that type of positioning you would get as a busy pro. And so your closing rate goes way up. The respect that you get treated with goes way up. So people, no show less often. They show up on time. They're ready to meet with you. They're excited to talk to you. So that's the busy professional. And the downside of busy professional, it's where a lot of network marketers kind of strive to be. But what happens is now they're still back to talking to people one at a time. And so even though you get the respect that you deserve and you get a higher closing rate, you're still talking to people one at a time, which is not great when it comes to managing your time. The last area is called the star quadrant, and this is the gold standard of where everyone should want to get to. And in the past, getting here meant writing a best-selling book. If you can do Facebook ads properly, you could do this. If you're speaking from stage. So these are all different ways that you can be in the trusted authority quadrant. And the trusted authority quadrant, the star quadrant here, if you're a best-selling author, people are coming to you. If you do Facebook ads right, people are coming to you. And if you look at, Eric Worre, or if you look at, somebody like that, he's got a fantastic book about called Go Pro. But most of the strategies in that book are about how to operate in the grind quadrant. And notice how Eric Worre sells his products, right? Does he talk to the person behind him at the grocery store and say, hey, you should buy GoPro? No, he uses Facebook ads. He's a best-selling author. He sells from stage. So that's where you want to get to. So what I want you to do is inside of the chat box, just let me know right now. Just type in one word. Either type in grind, vendor, busy pro, or star quadrant, and just let me know where the majority of your prospecting is or how you've been taught to prospect. So go ahead and type it on in. All right, so T-Rob says, yeah, or Eric Worre, I just went to Go Pro. Yeah, he's fantastic. Alicia says grind. Kelsey says grind. Grind and vendor is Shannon. Shannon, I'd love to know what you do in the vendor quadrant, if it's trade shows or what you do there. Chrissy's busy pro. Chrissy's grind. Melissa's busy pro. Thomas, busy pro. All right, fantastic. So what I'm going to show you today is what I believe is the absolute easiest way to get your foot in the door in the trusted authority quadrant, and it's how to become a meetup organizer. And by doing this, you're not going to have the same worldwide authority that you'd have if you were a best-selling author. But you will absolutely become a trusted authority and a local celebrity in the city that you're in. And I'm going to show you how to do all of this without having to be a best-selling author and without having to spend a couple $1,000s a month like you would through Facebook ads. Everything I'm going to show you today, all the examples came from a $10 per month advertising budget in just a couple hours per week. So that is what I'm going to share with you. And here's the secret formula if you want to be in the star quadrant. So there's lots of different ways to do it, but essentially what you need to know is who. So who do you want to attract? The next one is where are you going to meet them? So that could be on Facebook through an ad, that could be through Meetup. There's a bunch of different options. What is the bait that you're going to use? And this is where most people miss the mark. This is why most people are not in the trusted authority, section, because they don't have bait. And the difference between you chasing people and them chasing you is just bait. If you have something that you can offer them, that will get them chasing you. And lastly is what's the result you're going to give them. So let's go through and I'll show you how to do this to get into the star quadrant, and then I'll give you some specifics on Meetup. So Who? You want to narrow down a niche market. Who do you love working with? And the way that you do this is by describing an individual, not a group of people. And if you have a hard time doing this, just describe yourself if you want to attract a bunch of people that are just like you. Now, it's important to know that you cannot attract everyone. And so most of the time when I say, hey, who's your target market? The answer I get from people in network marketing is everyone. Right? I want everyone. And it is possible to chase everyone, but it's not possible to attract everyone. Right? If you're thinking about anything, if there's a movie, only a certain percentage of the population are going to be attracted to a certain movie. They're not going after everyone. Same thing with sports, same thing with anything. So you want to figure out who exactly do you want to attract so that we can create some bait that will attract that type of a person. So an easy way to do this is to say blank who blanks. So young professionals that want to have fun, moms who want to lose weight, moms who want to stay home with their kids, entrepreneurs who want to grow their leadership ability, baby boomers who want to travel, boomers who want to retire. So blank who blank is a really simple way to figure out the who. Next thing you have to figure out is where. Where am I going to focus? Where am I going to find people? And literally, you just have to find one place that you master, and that'll be it for you. You'll have an unlimited source of leads from that one section. So you could do this through a BNI group. You could do Facebook ads. You could do a Meetup group. If you're an author, you could meet people in the bookstore. By meet them, I mean that they pick up your books there. You have a website. You could do an association, LinkedIn. So there's lots of different examples of how that you can do this. And where you can meet people. Number 3 is bait. And when you're coming up with bait, you want to remember, what does my prospect want? Right? Not what do I want, what does my prospect want? And in marketing, this is called a lead magnet. And don't worry, I'm going to show you a very simple way to do this on Meetup that will allow you to not have to do a bunch of this. But here's what traditional bait looks like. So you could write an ebook, you could do a free consultation, you could create a cheat sheet, you could give away a free chapter of a book, you could do a webinar training. Costco does this as a free sample, right? That's their bait, is they give away something for free, knowing that a certain percentage of those people are going to buy from them. If you were a real estate agent, you would give away a free home evaluation just as a way to get in the door with somebody. So that is the concept of bait. And the result is taking somebody from where they are now to where they want to go. And sometimes this is more than one offer. And if you do this right, you can actually have multiple streams of income. So that's kind of the big picture version. And if any of that sounds complicated, it's because it is. And I'm going to show you a very simple way to do this using Meetup, where you don't have to go through creating any of that stuff. Okay, so here's why I suggest Meetup. If you're doing Meetup, really all you need is who, where, bait, and result. And Meetup's going to take care of the where, because they already have a social media platform called Meetup, and they'll do that for you. The bait that you're going to use to attract people is going to be some events that I'm going to show you how to create. And the event is going to be all about what your prospect wants. So we're going to have them chasing you. And the result, well, you already have that as well. The end result that they want is going to be the product, whatever the result your product or service gets them. So if you have a shake as your business, then the result people want is losing weight or being more healthy. This result also could be them making more money, and the result in this case is that you're attracting people who are going to become business owners with you. So all that's left to do is the who. And I'm going to show you how to do that part here today. So what is Meetup? For those of you who don't know, Meetup.com is a social media platform that's all about helping people go and do more of what they love. And it was actually created right after 9/11 in New York to help people get out and meet their neighbors. And so it's all about doing more of what you love and meeting new people. And there's 2 ways you can participate in Meetup. One way is by being a Meetup member, which means you join Meetup the same way you would join Facebook or anything else. And you can search through hundreds, if not thousands, of different groups and go to a lot of different events. And a lot of them, they're all fun. A lot of them are free. And it's just a great way to get out of your house and meet new people. And if you like, you can actually go on Meetup and find events, and you could go meet people and prospect them for your business. The second way that you can use Meetup is by becoming what's called a Meetup organizer. And as an organizer, you create the Meetup group, you create the events, and people come to you. And it's more of that star quadrant that we were talking about before, whereas being a Meetup member would be more like the vendor quadrant, all right? So the majority of what we're going to talk about here today is how you can be a Meetup organizer. And we're going to create a Meetup funnel for you. And there's really only 4 parts to your funnel. The first part is your Meetup group. So people are going to see your Meetup group and they're going to join it. From there, you're going to host some value events. And remember, this is the bait that's going to get people to be excited to come and meet you. And then we're going to have what we call an interest form, which is where people are going to circle yes or no on some questions. And that's where they're going to actually overtly tell you, yes, please help me. Yes, I'd like to lose weight. Yes, I'd like to travel more. Yes, I'd like to make more money. And as soon as they circle yes on that and they've given you their name and phone number, now it's a very, very easy phone call to make because they have asked you. And so we're going to create this funnel, and then we're going to put people into the top of the funnel, and they're going to come out at the bottom as our perfect prospects. And the place these people are going to come from is 3 places. Number 1 is current subscribers of Meetup. Number 2 is searches on Meetup. And number 3 is searches on Google. So that part's done for you. And there's going to be a bunch of people that are dumped into the top of your funnel. And out of the bottom, we're going to have your perfect prospect. So again, the group is the where. The value events is your bait. And the result that they want, we're going to get on that interest form so that we can find your perfect prospect and sell to them in a way that feels very, very natural to you and that feels very respectful to them because they're chasing you, not the other way around. And the goal is, once you create this group one time, that we're going to have people joining this group month after month after month, regardless of what you do. Even if you get busy and you're doing something else for a little while, your group is going to grow. So what if on your way to the top of the mountain, there was just some base camps, right? What if every couple of months you had a brand new list of 300 new names of people that were your ideal prospect? And you could follow these little base camps all the way to the top of the mountain, always having people to talk to. How does that sound? Let me know how we're doing so far. And if you like the idea of having a base camp and every couple of months having a brand new list of people to talk to who are chasing you, go ahead and type in a number 1. Wow from Melissa sounds awesome, says Shannon, very excited. And a bunch of 1s. Fantastic from Melissa. Okay, great. So let's keep on rolling. Let's build your funnel. So here's some examples I want to show you. This one's called Stay Active, Work Out, and Have Fun in Calgary. So if you're in a fitness, weight loss type business, Herbalife, Isogenics, anything like that, keep an eye on this. This group was created about a year and a half ago, and it's got 2,000 members in it. And that's actually an older number. It's higher than that now. This one's called Edmonton Single Travelers, and this has almost 4,000. I think it's at 4,100 now. At the time of this picture, it was at 3,800 members. And it is, if you're in World Ventures or any type of a travel company, if you said number 1, then keep an eye out for this. This one's called Lose Weight, Get Fit, and Have Fun. And this one's the same actual owner of the other one. So she has 2 different groups. One's got 2,600 and the other one's got about 2,000. This one is called Edmonton Cash Flow Club, and it's a smaller group. It's 507 members, but every single person in this group has read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is the best-selling business book of all time. And every single person who's in this group already wants to create passive income. Okay. So that is what some examples here. A case study we're going to go through today. The example we're going to use is my friend David. And his group I think it's about 1,000 members right now. And we went from 0 to 372 people inside of 36 days. I helped them do this. And I'm going to show you exactly how we did that. Now, this particular example is about a fitness weight loss type of a group. But what I'm about to share with you will work for multiple different industries. It'll even work outside of MLM. This webinar is just specifically for talking about network marketing. Okay. So here's how it worked. We had a little bit of time where we prepared and we did a little bit of just some prep work to get ready. From there, we created a Meetup group and prospects joined that group. Where did the prospects come from? Well, like I said before, they came from Google and they came from Meetup. And the biggest leverage point here is 3 to 4 days after you create your group, Meetup sends out what they call their kickoff email. And that lets everybody know on Meetup that a new group has been created. And The first time I created a Meetup group, it took me 4 years to get to 300 members. The second time I did it, it took me 2 years to get to 300 members. And once I understood this Meetup kickoff email, I've been able to help people go from 0 to 300 members inside of as little as a month because of this Meetup database email. So I'm going to show you about that today. From there, we had some value events, which was our bait. And then we had our interest form, which is where people told us overtly, yes, please contact me. So that's the kind of overview of how it worked. And here's the details. So if you got a pen and paper, here's where you want to take some notes. So the 4 steps we need is your group. We need traffic, so people coming to your group. We need some value events, and we need an interest form. And I'm going to walk you through how to do all of these. The value events actually, sometimes people get stuck on it. It's the easiest part. So once I share this with you today, you'll see how easy the value event part is. So here's the preparation. All right, what we're doing in the prep section, and the reason why we're doing some preparation is because if you start creating your group on Meetup and it's not even finished yet, and 3 days passes, Meetup will send that kickoff email out, and they'll send an email out to their database, and everybody who sees your group is going to see an uncompleted group, an incomplete group. So we want to do some preparation first so that when that kickoff email goes out, everything is in order. So the first thing you want to figure out is who, okay? And the way you're going to figure out who is just based on your product or your service or your company. There is some different tags here that Meetup has. And I want you, especially if there's some that relate to the business that you're in, write a couple of these tags down. And if there's a lot of groups, so for instance, this one says 4,800 members, the more groups there are, the better it is. So don't look at that as competition. Look at it as a sign that that's what people are interested in, okay? So if you're into fitness and you have a fitness company or a weight loss business, write a couple of these tags down. You could your who could be women's fitness, weight loss challenge, weight loss could be alternative medicine, healthy living, fitness, nutrition, wellness. Okay, so anything like that. So you want to know what the who is, and you can write down multiple. These are called tags or interests on Meetup. Let's say you want to meet people who are entrepreneurial. So you could look up sales professionals, entrepreneurship, marketing, small business. You could have e-business owners, stay-at-home moms, work-at-home moms, professional women, women entrepreneurs. So any of these are tags that would attract people that are already inside of business. All right, here's a couple more. If you're in travel, you could have seniors who love to travel, international travel, new in town, fun times, nightlife. All right, so again, just any of these that resonate, write them down. We'll go through more of them again here later. Cruise vacations, weekend getaways, singles who like to travel. Okay, so these are all different parts of who you would like to meet. So I'm going to keep going here, but inside the question box, just type in a tag that relates to your customer base. So whatever type of person you want to meet, let me know something about the who, one of these ones, or just one word that would describe somebody who's interested in what you do. So go ahead and type that in. We've got nutrition, businesswomen who want to lose weight, weight loss, fitness, entrepreneurs from Kim. T-Rob says weight loss, fitness, entrepreneurs. International traveler is Shannon. Financial literacy is Thomas. Okay, fantastic. So this is what you are looking for. The next thing is where. And the where is your Meetup group. So this is fantastic. You don't have to do this part. It's already created. And by creating a group inside of Meetup, you're going to have your own personal pond to fish from, and Meetup will stock the pond for you. So when we're creating your group, your where, we'll talk more about this later, but the name that you create is going to be who plus do. So who you want to attract plus what you're going to do. So here's some group ideas. You could have a weight loss group, a travel group, a do something new group, a cash flow club, a leadership development group, family and fitness, personal development. So these are all different ideas of what your group could be about, and that will be the where of where you would find people. All right, the next part is bait. All right, and the bait is how are you going to get people to come to you? And on Meetup, the bait is events. And events are all about what your prospect wants. So we want to do things. It's not an event that is, hey, my group is called Amway and my event is called Learn the Amway Compensation Plan, and then nobody comes. I've literally had people say, why doesn't Meetup work? This is what I did. All right. The bait is all about what does your prospect want? Okay. So if you were in a health company, you could do events that were like having a stroller jog. You could do yoga. You could go running some stairs. You could do a river valley jog, a boot camp, a family workout. If your group was about fun, you could do archery or paintball or bubble soccer, just anything that somebody who's into health and fitness would enjoy doing. If you're into travel, well, obviously there's traveling. You could, one of the examples I gave was Edmonton Single Travelers Group, and they've literally traveled out of the country together, as a group. But also they do things in their local city. So in between traveling, they do things like going out for salsa lessons, learning how to dance, right? Going to a Greek restaurant. They've gone out to art galleries. They've done charity events, wine tastings, basically anything adventurous that would attract somebody who likes to travel. If you wanted to attract somebody who is entrepreneurial, you could do, here's some training ideas. You could do sales training, a cash flow board game, a networking event, mastermind. You do a book study. You could have a featured trainer, speed networking. There's literally so many different options of what you can use for bait. And if you have a pen and paper, here's what I want you to write down. There's 4 different types of groups that work extraordinarily well. The first one is fun. So number 1 is fun. The second one, if you're writing this down, is for networking. So there's some meetup groups where the only purpose of the group is for people to get together and meet other people, right? One type of group is fun, where the goal is to go and do some adventurous and fun things. The next one is training or teaching. And that's where you're the teacher. So if you have some sort of a skill set, whether that's, you've had some success in business, or maybe you've been a personal trainer in the past, anything at all, if you have something to teach, the third type of a group you can create is about you teaching. And the fourth type of group, which is actually one of my favorites, is called facilitating. And in that type of a group, you're basically just the organizer, you're the connector. And so you have other people who are teaching, and you're just having guest people in. And I'm going to show you an example of that, of what we did with David's group, because most of what he does is actually facilitating. So we did the prepare section, and we kind of came up with some different ideas. The next thing we did was we created David's group, and here's how we did that. This part's actually really, really simple. We just went on to meetup.com. We created our profile for free. And then we typed in some of those tags of what we picked earlier, about what his group was going to be about. So we selected a few of those. Then we named his group, and his name was Get Fit, Mind, Body, Soul. So who plus do. The who is people who are into mind, body, and soul. And what we're going to do is get fit. And then we had a description of what the group was going to be about. And in the description, we included a lot of different of the activities that we were going to do later on in the group. And then we agreed and continued to Meetup's terms, and bam, our Meetup group was complete. And a couple days later, after this group was created, Meetup sent off that kickoff email, and people joined our group. So I'm going to show you that part now, which is called traffic. So we're on step number 3 now. And I'm going to show you the traffic portion. So again, the traffic was, we had people from Meetup who were already on Meetup. We had people who were searching on Meetup, and we have people from Google that all came and found our group. So I'm going to show you how this worked, okay? So in this section, we're going to talk about the subscribers first, because this is the first leverage point you have. So on Meetup, there's already 22 million people are already on Meetup. And what happens is every time there's a new activity or a new group that's created, Meetup sends an email to let people know. But they only tell you about groups that they think that you're interested in. So when you join Meetup as a member, you immediately select your tags. They say, hey, what type of things are you interested in? And so let's say I went on there and I said, hey, I'm interested in working out, losing weight. I'm interested in nutrition. Then anytime a new group is created, if that group matches even one of the interests with me, I'm going to get an email that says, hey, here's this group that you might be interested in. So what this means to you is there's already an existing database of people who live in your city, who are on Meetup, who have told Meetup, hey, I want to travel more. Hey, I want to lose weight. Hey, I want to make more money or start a business, right? there's already people that are on Meetup that have already said, this is what I'm interested in, and they're literally just waiting for you to create a group so that they can be notified about it and join. So the first thing that we do is we select tags to make sure that our email goes out to the most number of people and the most relevant people. The second thing from this portion is we want to make your group name act like a headline. So when somebody gets that email that says, hey, there's this new group, sometimes all they ever see is just the name of the group, right? Before they decide if they're going to click on it or not. So we want to make your name like a headline that makes somebody curious to learn more. And the third thing we want to do is we want to have a group description. And every different platform is different. People go onto YouTube to watch videos. They go onto Pinterest to make crafts. They go onto Meetup to do stuff. So rather than making your description about, hey, here's the reason I decided to create this and yada, 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 make your group description about here's some of the activities that you could expect to do if you joined us. All right, so that's how we maximize the subscribers. This is actually a separate page in the Meetup settings where it actually shows you how many people, how many different groups are using each one of these tags. And when you first create your group, it has a different page where it doesn't show you how many other groups there are, which is not helpful. They're trying to make it simple, I think, but you want to go to this additional page because it will give you an insight into what type of tags people are using. So if you notice, just above that circle, it says outdoor fitness, and there's 10 groups. So what that means is there's not many people on Meetup who, when they're typing in their interests, they don't type in outdoor fitness. What they type in is outdoors as one interest and fitness as another interest. Because if you look on the left-hand side, outdoors has 16,000 groups and fitness has 15,000 groups, whereas outdoor fitness only has 10 groups. So if you type in the words outdoor fitness, rather than having them as two separate tags, it means that your kickoff email is going to go to a very small number of people. All right. So you want to make sure that you select those tags properly so that we get in front of the most number of people. Some tips for you here is you want to think of your name as a headline. The formula is who plus do. So who is single people in Edmonton, and the do is travel. The who is people who want to lose weight, and what we're going to do is get fit and have fun, right? So who plus do. The name describes the outcome that your prospect wants to get. And if you do this right, you're going to get a ton of people in your group for free. We want to create some added value events right away so that when the email goes out, people have a chance to see some of the events you're doing and join. And when the email goes out from Meetup, those free events work like a flyer, which is your bait, right? Just giving a bunch of value for free. We write a description, some activities, and we focus on what we can give, not how much we can get. So this is not about what you want. It's not about you signing up customers and you getting business owners. That part comes later. We want to focus on what does your people want. That's how we're going to stock your pond. And just imagine, in a year from now, if you had a Meetup group with 2,000 members in it, right? And you send one email and 1% of people get started, you got 20 new business owners, right? So it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort here that you're putting in to growing this group and to adding value to people. But once you do, your group is the asset. The second way people find you is they go onto Meetup and they use it like Google. So they go onto Meetup and they search to find different events. And so people will find you that way. And lastly is with Google. And this part is really, really cool. So if somebody goes onto Google and they type in Get Fit, Mind, Body, and Soul in Ottawa, the first thing that comes up is a Meetup group. If somebody in Edmonton comes on and they type in Get Fit, Have Fun, Edmonton, or if they type in Lose Weight, Have Fun, Edmonton, or Lose Weight, Get Fit, any combination of those words, and the first thing that comes up is this Meetup group, which means rather than spending thousands of dollars on advertising every month, for $10 a month, you can tap into the SEO of Meetup. And the very first ad there, the very first one that's not an ad, is Edmonton Single Travelers Group. Okay, so this is how people end up finding you. Imagine somebody wants to lose weight. They go on Google and they type in lose weight in blank city name, and the first thing that comes up is you and your group. literally businesses pay thousands of dollars, and network marketers can't even afford to do this because it costs too much money on the front end compared to what you make on the back end. But at $10 a month, you can do this all day long with Meetup. So we did this section here. Meetup and Google went out and did some work for us. After 10 days, there was 185 people inside of our group, 33 people going to our first event. By the end of day 20, there was 269 people in our group and 37 people going to our next event. And by day 36, there was 372 members. We'd already had a couple of different events, and there was 17 people going to the newer event. So here's how to think about this, right? Imagine we've got this big funnel, right? And Google and Meetup literally take thousands of people and sort them to find out which ones are interested in weight loss, or which ones are interested in travel, or which ones are interested in business, or whatever, financial education, whatever company you are in. And from that, the top 372 of them joined our group as targeted leads. So I want you to think about the alternative. If we're taught, most people said that they were taught the grind quadrant. The grind quadrant means you go talk to 1,000 people or a couple thousand people, and 372 of them say, yes, I'm open to hearing some more. Right? So you can go and talk to a couple thousand people to get 372 targeted leads, or you could pay $10 and let Meetup do that part for you and just narrow it down to the top 372 people. If you like what we're doing so far, give me a 2. If you have any questions, we're going to go through some of those in the end, but I'd love to hear how are we doing? Lots of love it's 2, 2, 2. Woohoo from Shannon, 2 from Alicia, love it from T-Rob, Lynn and Shannon, fantastic. Okay, great. I can't believe I haven't used this in the past. So smart. Yeah, absolutely. I wish I could tell you, Shannon, that I did all this on purpose, but it just literally fell on my lap. I was using Meetup just for fun, and all of a sudden I realized that it was bringing me a bunch of targeted leads. So the next thing is our added value events. So we had Meetup and Google dump people into our Meetup group. And once they dump people into our group, you literally can send an email to any of those people whenever that you want. But my recommendation is don't prospect them yet. First, let's build some goodwill. First, let's create a relationship. And so the way we did that is we created 4 events. And our 4 events, one was called Beginner Yoga, one was Color Run, one was a Connect session, and one was Advanced Yoga. And what happened was Meetup automatically sent an announcement out to everyone and said, hey, we have an event and it's for beginners and it's about yoga. And 37 people attended that event. I told you earlier that of the 4 ways, one of them is called being a facilitator. Well, in this case, David doesn't know anything about yoga. I mean, he likes it, but he doesn't know how to teach it. And so a friend of his, he just contacted somebody who owns a yoga studio and said, hey, if we did yoga at the beach, would you come and teach it for free? I've got 300 people inside of my group, and it'd be a good chance for you to expose your business. And they said yes. So 37 people attended his first event, 9 attended his next event, 24 attended his next event, and 36 attended his 4th event, for a total of 106 people that attended his event in his first month. So that was kind of the bait that we used to get people to join the group. And it was also how we got to meet some really targeted, interesting people. A big breakthrough here is do something that you love. If your Meetup events are all about your passion, then it's great. You're not going to procrastinate doing something that's fun. And in David's case, his event was about an hour and 15 minutes, but he normally would spend an hour doing yoga anyways. So even though his event took him an hour and 15 minutes, it was only really 15 minutes out of his day because he was going to do yoga anyways. So you want to do stuff that you love, and you also want to educate. So if you do this properly, you get to influence how your prospect thinks before you ever make a pitch. So inside of weight loss, most people think that 80% of weight loss is working out and that 20% is what you eat. But the reality is that abs are made in the kitchen, and 80% of weight loss is based on what you eat. So rather than fighting that, we went with it, and we created his group about events so people could work out. That's what they think they need to do to lose weight. And then at his events, he's able to teach people that, hey, the reason you're not getting results is because you're not fueling your body properly. And he can educate them about that before he ever gives them a pitch on his nutritional products and his business. So that is the event section. We want to create social proof. We want lots of people coming to your event because when new people see the events, they think, wow, that must be a cool thing to be at. And we want to create urgency and scarcity so that people take action quickly. And we want people to show up. And so one of the ways to do that is you can actually charge for your events. An example of this is we use staggered pricing to create scarcity and increase RSVPs. So you can say, hey, it's $20 to come to our workout, but the first 20 people who RSVP can come for $5. And now what happens is you have a mad scramble for people because they want to pay $5 rather than $20. And all of a sudden, now your event has 20 people coming, and everybody after that sees this social proof of, look how many people are coming, and then they start paying more for events. So you don't have to charge for events. You can do them for free. However, by having staggered pricing, it gave us more RSVPs, which was more sales. There was a better show up rate. When people pay, they actually show up, and we trained our prospect to buy from us, which is very, very important. If somebody spends even $1 with you, if they give you their credit card one time, the chances of them buying from you again, statistically speaking, go up exponentially. So as soon as somebody's bought something from you once, they're statistically speaking way more likely to buy from you again. So if somebody pays to come to an event, they're way more likely to buy your other products and services in the future. This increased our RSVPs and our attendance, which resulted in an immediate increase in sales. And charging for the event became an additional profit center for David. So his events here, number one was yoga. We had 37 people that came. The next one was Color Run Canada. This was a paid event. It was $40 per person, and 9 people went. The next one here was supposed to be a connect session, but it didn't work out, and so he just did something different. 24 people went, and we had a meditation and yoga at a beach. And the last one was a advanced yoga, and we had 37 people who went to that event. And that'll happen in month number 1. The second month, he had event number 5, and 29 people went to this one, and it was a sunrise session. And the reason that I put it on here, I didn't count it in any of our first month numbers, but it's relevant because it's the first event that he started doing staggered pricing for. And it was $1 for the first 20 and $5 for the first 40. Okay, so again, just training people to buy. So again, we got thousands of people. That was narrowed down to the 372 people who were the most targeted. There was 372 people who were interested in losing weight. And out of those, 106 people actually attended his event. So I want you to think about it. David could go out and he could send a personal message to every single person, all 372 if he wanted, and that's fine. But really what you're doing is just sorting through people to figure out, who are the ones that you want to be getting in front of. Okay, so what I would do is I look at, hey, I could talk to thousands of people, or I could just talk to the 372 who are already targeted, or one step better than that is I could just talk to 106 of them who are motivated. You see, if 372 people are interested in losing weight, 106 of them want to lose weight right now. Right? They got in their car, they drove somewhere, and they worked out. They are ready for a change. Those are targeted, motivated leads. So that is the value added section where you're adding value and you're hosting events that way. And the next part here is our interest form. Okay, so the interest form is just a physical piece of paper, and it's kind of like a registration form, but we ask some additional questions. So 106 people attended our events. They all filled out an interest form. Some of those people asked for extra help and guidance from David, and some of them said, please don't bother me, which is cool too. There was 62 of the 106 that said overtly that they wanted help with something. Please let me know, whatever, I'd like to lose 30 pounds, or please let me know about the next time you're doing a 90-day challenge, or fill in the blank, whatever you would like that to be for you. So this is actually not David's form. This is a different example. But here's a registration form. You've got their name, their phone number, their email. What are some future activities you'd like to try? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your fitness level? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your nutrition level? And this is really important because this is moving you from chasing people to what I would call consultative selling. When you go into a doctor's office, imagine the doctor, you walked in and they're just like, hey, you've got cancer, take this. you're like, but you didn't do any tests yet. You didn't ask me any questions yet, right? You probably wouldn't take them very seriously. But consultative selling is where you ask some questions, you find out where is somebody at, what do they need, and then you make a recommendation based on that. And that is why doctors have the highest close rates of anyone. So regardless of what you think of the medical industry or doctors or whatever, the majority of people who get a prescription take it because of consultative selling. Right? So imagine somebody's like, hey, my goal is to lose weight. I'd like to lose 30 pounds. If this was my form, I'd say, when would you like to lose it by? So they say, hey, I'd like to lose 30 pounds in the next 3 months. And my fitness level, my working out is at a 7, and my nutrition is at a 2. I mean, once you knew that information about somebody, how easy is it for you to have a conversation and say, hey, listen, I don't know if you know this, but 80% of weight loss is what you eat. I've lost 42 pounds personally. Would you like me to show you what I use? Such an easy conversation because they're targeted, motivated people who have asked you for information. So here's some math. We had David's numbers. He paid $10 for his Meetup dues. From that $10, 372 people joined his group. So one way to look at it was he paid 2.5 cents per targeted lead, right? So you could go talk to a couple thousand people and narrow it down to the top 372, or you could just pay Meetup $10 and let them do it for you, which works out to 2.5 cents per person. So the next time you're standing in line at Starbucks and you're thinking, building up the courage to ask the barista at Starbucks, hey, do you keep your income options open? Just think to yourself, would I rather spend 2.5 cents and just let Meetup do this part for me? And I can just let everyone else in the line, continue on with their day. Right? It's crazy. Another way to look at it is 106 people attended. So if David didn't talk to the 372, if the only people he talked to was the 106, it means he spent 9 cents per targeted motivated lead. And the way I look at it is I'm only going to call and talk to the 62 people who physically requested help because I value my time a lot. I'd rather do other things than talk to tire kickers. So this way of looking at it is that I would have spent 16 cents, or David spent 16 cents for each name, email address, and phone number of a targeted motivated lead who requested information. So how do you build a predictable business so that you have a plan and not just a goal and a wish? It's just math. All you have to know is 2 numbers. One number is how much does it cost me to acquire a new client? And the second number is how much profit do I make from a new client? Once you know those 2 numbers, that's it. You can have a predictable, real business. So the cost to acquire is simply whatever your lead cost is multiplied by your close rate. Meaning that if it costs you 16 cents per lead and it takes you 3 leads to get 1 sale, then it costs you 48 cents per sale. That was your cost per acquisition. If it costs you 16 cents per lead and it takes you 10 leads to get 1 sale, then it costs you $1.60 to get a new customer or business owner. So that's all you have to know is what's your cost to acquire, and then what is your profit per sale. When somebody buys your average package, do you make $40? Do you make $40 every month? Do you make $10? Do you make $200? Whatever it is, as soon as you know your cost to acquire and your profit per lead, you now have a predictable business. And this one simple strategy generated over $250,000 in profits for me in 1 year. I did it by doing 1 launch. All year long, I did 1 launch. That was it. Enrolled 25 people in 21 days. Every single one of them joined as distributors on $500 or $1,000 packages, and it completely changed my business and my lifestyle. So let's make your interest form. Number 1, you want people's contact information. Number 2, you want some added value stuff. Number 3 is extra information. And number 4 is your yes and no questions. So I'm going to go through these and you can take some notes. So number 1 is you want to own their contact information and you don't own Meetup. So you want to get people's name, phone number, email address. You want all of that information. And once you have it, you own that information and you can use it for whatever you want. You can use it for email blasts. You can use it for launches. If a new product comes out in your company, anything you want, joint ventures, all kinds of stuff. That is the asset. The contact information is the asset. The next thing is added value. This is optional, but if you have any free resources or things that you'd like to give to add value to your prospect, this is the place. You can ask questions, you can get feedback. So things like, what are some future workouts you'd like to do in the future? Where are some different places that you'd like to travel? What are some countries you'd like to travel to? Any type of things like that. Third one is extra information. And this is anything that you will ask them that will help you build trust with them or that will help you make the sale easier. So would you like to build muscle or lose weight? What day would you like to accomplish this by? Anything like that. And you can sell them by future pacing what their life would be like if they got the solution they were looking for. So my group is called a cash flow club. And it's all people who want to build passive income, either through real estate or the stock market or business. And one of my questions is, what do you do for passive income right now? What is a passive income goal you're working towards? And the third question is, how would your life be different if you reached that, if you were at that goal right now? And so people say, my goal is $4,000 a month passive income. And if I reach that, I'd be able to be a stay-at-home parent. Right? So you're showing them what it's going to be like when they get there. And that's really great information that you could find out about somebody before they ever joined your business. And you can use this extra information to make the sale easier. You can use it for joint ventures, other income streams, whatever you want. And lastly is the yes and no questions. And this is what gives you overt permission to call. It creates the authority positioning where they're chasing you. And it could be something like, let me know when you're hosting the next nutrition class. Tell me when the next 90-day challenge starts. I'd like to know what you use to help with building muscle. Could be something like, let me know about other opportunities to make passive income. Anything like that, okay? So here's an example. This is from a friend of mine who is a real estate investor. He's also in a company called Trinot, does financial education. And so some of his questions are, do you own a business? Do you have your goals in writing and financial statements in writing? So if somebody says, yes, they own a business and no, they don't have their financial statements in writing, he has a product that can help them. If they say, yes, they have a business and no, they don't have a lawyer or identity theft for a corporation, then he knows his company can help them. If they say, yes, they own a business and no, they don't document all their expenses for taxes, he's got an app that they can use to document all of their expenses. So by the answer to these questions, it's very, very easy for him to call people back. And he's also is in real estate. So if somebody says, yes, tell me about real estate investments like the ones in the game, or teach me how to find my own real estate investments. So he can sell them his course about real estate, his coaching about real estate, or he can sell them prepackaged deals that he's already made. So this is what your interest form looks like. So we've taken thousands of people. Google and Meetup found them for us. They're not your own friends and family. You didn't have to do anything to talk to them. There was zero rejection. And we narrowed it down to 372 targeted leads without you making a single phone call and without you taking a single ounce of rejection. From there, we had 106 people that actually showed up to our event. So those are targeted, motivated leads who you've now built massive goodwill with and you've built a relationship with. And out of those, we had 62 of them that were targeted, motivated leads who requested your help, who overtly said, yes, please contact me. So again, you go through this whole process, or you could just not and let Meetup do it for you. Zoe, I think you might be off of mute all of a sudden. So I want you to think about that process, right? You could go through and talk to all these people on your own, or you could just let Meetup do the sorting for you, and you could spend your time just talking to the best prospects with zero rejection, right? You didn't have to get any rejection from the 628 people who said no to your group. They just ignored your email. That was all, right? And then Meetup did the rest. And when it came down to those 62 people at the end, same thing, no rejection at all. I think probably twice in 11 years, somebody has said something rude to me when I called them back. And all I said to them was, oh, I'm sorry. You circled yes for this on this form. That's the only reason I was calling you. And immediately with that one sentence, they totally flipped. And they're like, oh, I'm really sorry. I just had a fight with my wife. Nothing to do with you. And totally done. So zero rejection. Let me tell you, calling prospects is easy when they're expecting your call and when they circled yes on your form. And it's even easier when they already know, like, and trust you and look to you as the trusted authority. It honors the prospect and they respect you for it. You quickly found out which prospects were interested, who was motivated, and who was looking for a solution. And just as importantly, you found out which ones aren't. Save the rejection. You added value to every single person, even the people who didn't buy, which is important because more people will say no than who say yes. So why not build massive goodwill with the no's? They might reattend. They might bring friends to the next event. They might buy a different product or service from you in the future. Adding value and building massive goodwill might come in handy. And it also makes you about 1 million times cooler than the takers out there who are just worried about themselves and just trying to gather credit cards, who are always chasing, always taking, and just focused on themselves. Best of all, adding value and getting leverage and using star power feels absolutely amazing and positions you to recruit with authority. So I told you earlier that I would show you. We've got lots of wows and fabulouses. Somebody said, Kim says, how do we compete if we're in a huge city like Phoenix? How does my group stand out? And how long have you been doing this? Is this method still viable? So, Kim, I will definitely go through those answers. It's absolutely still viable. The example that we just went through created their group 6 months ago. So absolutely, this is viable, and helping people create groups all the time. I've been doing it for 11 years, and Meetup is just picking up steam and momentum right now. And ask the question at the end. If I don't answer it, re-ask how to stand out in a big city. Because what I want to share with you right now is duplication. I asked you before a question about if I could show you how to build a prospect pool for you and your team to fish from. So here's a question that I want to know from you. Just in the chat box here, I want you to type in, you already gave me how many people you recruited last year. So in the chat box, I want you to tell me how many people do you plan on recruiting in 2017. So anybody you have already recruited plus whoever you're going to recruit till the end of the year, not how much is your team going to grow by, how many personal enrollments are you going to have this year. So type in what's the number that you would like to have. Shannon says 30. T-Rob says 60 to 100. Lynn says 25. We got 30 from Alicia, 50 from Kim, 52 from Thomas, 100 from Chrissy, 50 from Melissa, 30 to 50 from Shannon. Donna says 12. Listen, I recruited 25 people in 21 days, and what happened over the next 90 days was that the explosion from that, took our group to where within the next year and a half, we were at a point where we had done a $11 million in sales in 1 year from a team of 25 that got started all at once and then launched. And there was 5 people that did the same thing. Okay, so your numbers don't have to be gigantic. The reason why we're conditioned to have these gigantic numbers is because the people that we're enrolling aren't targeted people, right? That we're just enrolling people, throwing it against the wall, seeing what sticks. And then when somebody gets started in our business, they make a little names list of 25 to 50 names, and hopefully you get a few people that get started from that. And if not, you're on to the next person, because we don't teach people how to create an ongoing source of leads for themselves. So here's what I want you to think. I want you to think about, in a year from now, having a list of 50,000 prospects for your team. You could do that one of 2 ways. Way number 1 is if you already have a team of 1,000 reps and each one of them made a list of 50 people, which is what most companies teach, your top 25 or your top 50, that would be a 50,000 person database. Or you and 25 people, you and 24, could go out and create your own meetup group. And in a year from now, if those groups did the same thing that Cats did, and you had 2,000 people in the group, you'd have a 50,000 person database between you and your 24 people on of your team. That's what it looks like. You don't need a huge number of people if you can teach those people how to get leverage. So a couple more. We've got Pat says 50. Shannon says, wow, good work, T-Rob. Holy wow from Lynn. Shannon says, oh, right. Cam says, you send out an interest form after each added value event or after you've done a few. So Cam, the interest form, I have people physically fill that out at the event. So when they're ready, when they attend the event, when they get there, they put their name and it's like a registration form. And then at the end of the event, they fill out some of the other questions. So at every single event, I gather information. There are some people who host an event, get a stack of 30 forms, and the next day they just call those forms and make sales the way that they normally do. Personally, I like to just work in launches. So myself, I collect forms for multiple events, and then I'll do like an email launch, or I'll do a bunch of calls in a short period of time. So you can do it either way. Jersey says 50, bunch of wows. Okay, I promise you I'll answer some questions. I just don't want to get too off track here. We'll do a little recap, and then we'll go through some questions. All right, so here's a quick recap, and then I'm going to go, there's a bunch of questions. I promise I'll go through them. So a recap, we want to make a fundamental shift from the grind quadrant to any other quadrant, really. Vendor, Busy Pro, the gold standard is the star quadrant. And most of us are taught to operate in the grind quadrant. And when we do this shift, we're going to have the leverage that you would get at a trade show mixed with the authority that you would get on a three-way call. And that's what it's like to be in the star quadrant. And the easiest way to get into the star quadrant is by using Meetup. We talked about building your funnel with group events and a form. Inside of the group section, we said, hey, what's the product or service you sell? Who's your perfect prospect? And what type of activities would you and your prospect enjoy doing? Inside of the traffic section, we said, select your tags, create your group name, which is who and do. The description of your group is all about what you're going to do as a group. We're going to let Google promote it for you. And the leverage point that you get is your Meetup kickoff email that happens a couple days after you create your group, which is why we did the prepare section. We talked about added value events. There's no selling at the event. You're creating social proof. You're doing stuff you love and you're adding value. And if you want, you can charge for events, which will increase RSVPs. It will train prospects to buy from you and create an additional profit center. One of those ways, there's actually 7 different ways that you can charge people to profit. And one of those ways, Kat used and made an additional $6,000 and counting as a result of just charging an annual fee for people joining her group. Okay, we talked about your interest form, and this is where they ask you for permission. You use authority positioning. You get valuable information for the close. You don't waste time on unqualified prospects. If somebody's going to say no to you, when do you want to know? After like spending an hour giving them a presentation and 3 weeks of phoning them to follow up, or do you want to know now? Like, just let them say no now so you can move on and spend your time with the people who actually want this. Every hour you spend with an unqualified prospect costs you an hour of your life. And that hour of your life could be sitting down with a qualified prospect. It could be getting 30 new prospects by spending an hour hosting an event. And it could be an hour of you just spending time with your family or relaxing. Don't waste time on unqualified prospects. Sort them out first. We're going to use permission-based selling, which honors the prospect and commands respect. And every event that you have equals a stack of interest forms at the end of the event, which are your perfect prospect. So listen, you're at your computer, you're watching this webinar, you've heard how this works, and you know that using Meetup can be a great way to meet more of your perfect prospect. And clearly, authority marketing works. Just look at how many top network marketers are writing books, using Facebook ads, or speaking from stage. That's why you're smart to move from the desperation quadrant to the star quadrant. And with Meetup, it is actually within your reach. So if you're a network marketer who wants to meet more of your perfect prospect and you're genuinely interested in creating friendships and adding value to people's lives, you might be wondering, how do I implement all of these Meetup tactics and strategies I just showed you quickly and easily? So here's what I got. I created a 5-module training experience for you called Meetup Marketer, where I literally recorded each step that I used to create David's Meetup group. So the example we used today, I literally recorded every single step of that so that I can walk you through step by step by step through how to set up your group, how to attract prospects, how to get paid, and how to recruit into your business. We're going to identify your perfect prospect, and we're going to create a group that will attract them. The group is going to revolve around your interests and passions so that hosting your meetup never feels like work. And we're going to create an irresistible group name and description to hook your prospects. You're going to discover a new way to flood your business with eager prospects who are already positioned to view you as an authority in your market. And you'll be doing this by using the simple but effective Meetup launch method system that nobody else has. And you're going to get your group exposed to the maximum number of qualified prospects so that you can have a huge audience and tons of social proof. You're going to learn about how to host an event, what types of events will attract the best clients based on the industry that you're in. I'll show you how to get free locations and even how to tap into other people's skill sets, like what David did when he had somebody teach his yoga classes. You'll see that repeat guests are by far the most profitable, and I'll help you structure your events so that prospects turn into repeat guests and repeat buyers. So buying your product multiple times and even buying multiple products and services from you. I'm going to show you how to turn a profit before you ever enroll a single customer or business builder. There's actually 7 different ways to profit, and any one of those ways can cover all of your meetup costs so that all of the commissions you make from recruiting are straight profit. So you literally, I want you to get paid on the front end, and the money you make on the front end is 100% profit. Just one example made Kat an extra $6,000. And I'll show you how to do the same thing. On top of the fact that it's an extra income stream, it will also train your prospect to buy. We're going to create your own custom interest form so that you can ask great questions that will help you make more sales. I'll give you the 4 different ways to use permission-based selling with the prospect forms that you collect. And inside of those 4 different ways, you can approach people immediately after your event about your business is one way. You can approach them immediately about your opportunity is another way. And then there's 2 different launch styles that you can use. One's more of a direct launch and one's more of an indirect launch. So if you have any hard feelings or if it's difficult for you to sell, I'll show you a really, really soft approach that will add value to everyone and make it super simple for you to have some rejection-free sales. Of those 4, my favorite is the direct launch method. I'll show you exactly what I did and how I use this method to recruit 25 people in 21 days so that you can deploy it in your business to hit new ranks. So here's what to do next. Naturally, if you want to implement everything I just shared with you, and if you do, you're going to see amazing results in your business. And just by growing your list, you're going to get more practice and you're going to get in front of a heck of a lot more people. And that's why you should invest in Meetup Marketer right now. You can grab a copy by going to meetupmarketer.com/custom. So you're sitting at your computer watching this, you've stayed all the way to the end, and you know that Meetup can drastically change the way that you recruit. And that's why I created Meetup Marketer. It's specifically designed to help you build a list, attract your perfect prospect, add value, and recruit business partners and customers in 30 days. So if you want to build authority, you want to create a loyal following, you want to get leverage and build massive goodwill, all while having fun and recruiting like crazy in a 30-day period, this is specifically for you. So here's some specifics of exactly what you can expect. Module number 1 is called Prepare. Number 2 is called Create. Number 3 is Grow. Number 4 is Profit. And number 5 is Recruit. And I intentionally made it 5 modules because a lot of courses, they think that the course creators think that their job is to give you as much information, like just to fill your head with information. But usually when you do that, you don't actually do anything. You just learn a whole bunch. And so everything in here is designed to help you actually take action and to do it with you. So module number 1 is Prepare. This is where we get specific about who your perfect prospect is so you can attract people who are most likely to buy. We craft some value add events specifically for your business. So you can create loyal followers and quickly grow your list so you have a huge list to recruit from. We're going to create a group centered around your passion so that you eliminate procrastination and replace it with fun. When you love doing it, you just do it. Number 2 is called Create, and we're going to create an irresistible group description to attract the best people. We're going to attract your perfect prospect by selecting the best tags, and we're going to create a group name that represents you and your brand. And we'll use the Meetup launch email and social proof so that prospects come to you and they're chasing you. Module number 3, we're going to talk about growing your group. So it's all about leading meetup events that will build massive goodwill and create a loyal following. We're going to maximize the number of people who join your group, the number of people who RSVP for your events, and the people who attend your events so that you can recruit with leverage and save time. We're going to increase your exposure and local star power so you build authority and command respect. And we're going to collect contact information so that you have a huge list of people who know, like, and trust you. Module number 4 is all about profiting. And this might seem a little bit out of place, but I want you to make money from your group before you even recruit a single person. Because it'll become a profit center for you, and it will remove your anxiety of whether or not somebody joins you or not, right? When you're getting paid when people are literally paying you to prospect them, it is such a great feeling. So we're going to use the 7 ways to profit to cover all of your expenses so that you get free leads. We're going to turn your raving fans into paying clients so that we train them to buy from you. We're going to create multiple streams of income so that you always are secure financially. And I'm also going to show you which tools to use to create staggered pricing so that you get a flood of early RSVPs, which will create massive social proof. And lastly, what you're all here for, is how to recruit. There's nothing left out. I'll literally show you how and when to bring up your business so it feels totally natural. We're going to get your prospects to fill out a custom form where they ask you about your business. And we're going to learn permission-based selling, which is that consultative approach where you and your prospect feel totally comfortable. And I'm going to show you the Meetup launch method so that you can recruit prospects in bunches. Not only does it save you a whole bunch of time, but when you're recruiting a bunch of people all at once, it creates a camaraderie between them, right? Rather than one person joining your business every month for the next 20 months and they all feel like they're by themselves, they're all little orphans. Instead of that, you've got the class of 2017, right? You got 25 people that joined all at once that all work together and they're all fighting for your time. That's why you should recruit in bunches. You're getting the exact same system that I personally use to recruit 25 people in 21 days. And the price? Well, there's no Meetup system like this. You could buy, if you wanted to be in the star quadrant another way, you could do it through Facebook ads and you could spend a few $100 to a few $1,000s on a course. Plus, you'd have to spend a couple $1,000s a month in ad spend on Facebook. This system is going to cost you $10 per month from Meetup. And the system pays you to host events. Coaching clients pay me upwards of $7,000 to help them create their group for one-on-one coaching. But for you, and this offer, it is way more affordable. You can get started with the Meetup Marketer course for just 3 payments of $277. 1 payment today, and then 2 more payments, 1 in a month from now, 1 in a month from then. Or you can save some extra money by paying $697 up front. But it gets better. If this is the first webinar that you've been on with me, and you're one of the first 10 to enroll today, you can get started for just 3 payments of $167. Or you can save an additional $104 by making 1 payment of just $397. All you need to do is go to meetup.com or meetupmarketer.com/custom. Zoe will go ahead and post that into the chat box for you. But it will automatically give you that cheaper price if you are one of the first 10 and this is your first webinar. All you need to do when you get there is choose the payment plan that works the best for you. Hit the add to cart button, fill out the usual details, and then you'll get a username with an email and a password, and all of the content is there for you. All of the lessons, all of the modules, all of the bonuses that I haven't told you about yet are all there, and it's not drip content. You literally get 100% of it day number 1. And I know it's a risk for me if somebody did the first payment and didn't make the other ones and went through all of the information right up front. But if you want to move quickly, I've created it this way so that if you want to really get going, you want to Netflix binge things like I do, and go through the whole course in a weekend and set your group up and go through all of it right away, you can. Or you can take it at whatever pace you want. You have lifetime access. So again, if you want to attract your perfect prospect, add value, build trust, and have prospects chasing you and recruit with authority in 30 days, head on over to meetupmarketer.com/custom. So I've got a couple, if you've got some questions, go ahead and type them in. I've got a couple bonuses to let you know about, as well as our guarantee. We've got Shannon says, do we teach people who we bring in to build a meetup group as well? You absolutely can do that. Jason says, awesome. Awesome. Thank you from Cam. Wouldn't there be a lot of the same groups if we're in the same company? Are we able to merge groups? I'll talk about that in some details in a minute. Such great value. Thank you so much from Lynn. You're very, very welcome. How to stand out in a big city. Yes, so I'll definitely go through those in just one moment here. If you're one of the first 10 to get started, go ahead and let me know that as well in the chat box. And I've got some bonuses for you here. So I didn't mention we've got the best guarantee ever. It's a 30-day guarantee. All you need to do is send an email to support@jimmyjays.com, and the bonuses I'm about to tell you about, you can keep all of those bonuses. So at the end of 30 days, you just decide, hey, it's not for me. Maybe the type of business you have, you're not sure if it'll work well with Meetup. No problem. Just go try it out for 30 days and then let me know. And if it's not for you, I'll give you a full refund, no questions asked, and you can keep all of the bonuses. No wiggle clauses, no shenanigans. Your word is gold. So that is the guarantee. Here's the bonuses. The first one is I've got a bonus to help you make your site beautiful. So somebody said, how do you stand out from the other groups on Meetup if you're in a bigger city? This is one of the ways to do it. You can customize your Meetup page so that you can brand yourself and stand out so you have an edge over other Meetup groups. So the default is this, and 90% of Meetup groups look exactly like this. And you can go from that to looking like this and have it branded and professional looking. And this bonus, it literally took 15 minutes. You don't have to have any artistic bone in your body. And it's all free tools that I used. So in that bonus, I walk you through all of that. If you are in a fitness company, one of the bonuses is a fitness interview with Kat. She shares how she made $6,235 and counting in membership dues. And that number's a little bit outdated. It's more than that now. Learn the number one mistake that network marketers make on Meetup. And what to do if you have a fitness company. So if you're in a fitness business, you can literally just copy a bunch of the stuff that Kat talks about. If you're not, you should probably listen to it anyways, because you might want to learn how to make an extra $6,000 in membership dues. If you are in a travel company, Billy Joe has 4,100 people in her Meetup group, and you can literally just learn exactly what to do to grow a travel network marketing company. On top of that, if you're not in a travel company, you probably want to listen to this, because she's going to talk about Meetup for a Cause and how she uses charity events to grow your business and make a difference through Meetup. And she also talks about the best events to do to attract travelers. I've also have a bonus about public speaking, and you certainly don't need to be a public speaker to be able to host a Meetup group. However, a lot of people that want to be in the star quadrant, they want to grow their influence and their speaking ability. So I'm going to share with you in this bonus my experience of going from being scared of a 5-person audience. Literally, my upline said, hey, go speak and say something inspirational to your little group of 5. And I was like, just terrified to do so, to speaking on a stage in front of 17,000 people, and how to structure your speaking engagements for maximum impact. And you can use this skill set not only in your group, but as you advance ranks and start speaking on stage for your company. This will be a great thing to help you. So quick recap, you get Meetup Marketer, all 5 modules, the Make Your Meetup Beautiful bonus, the fitness interview from Kat, the travel interview from Billy Joe, and the Be an Awesome Speaker training to help you grow your leadership and your influence on stage. And you get a $300 discount by getting started right now, either 3 payments of $167 or save an extra $104 by making 1 payment of $397 US. And again, you can do that at meetupmarketer.com. We've got the best guarantee ever. I literally have all the risk. You could watch everything and get your money back. But I trust you, and I know that you've probably been let down with other courses and topics before where there was, so-called gurus who'd never actually done it themselves, or people that just, they think that the goal is to give you as much information as possible rather than helping you get a result, which is all this course is about. So because of that, I want you to just let me take the risk on this one. Go ahead and get started. Try it out for 30 days. If you don't love it, send an email, and Zoe will happily refund your money for you. So As I said earlier, I plan to raise the price this week. So if you want to get started with the discount, it's meetupmarketer.com/custom. You've watched the entire presentation. You want leverage and you want prospects that treat you with respect. And you know that this is an excellent value. So take advantage of the incredible discount, the amazing bonuses, and the can't lose guarantee right now by heading over to meetupmarketer.com. So we've got some Q&A here. I'm going to go through some of the ones that already came in. And then I'm going to go through some commonly asked questions. There is a little list here, so I'm sorry if it takes me a minute to get you. All right, so the first one, so Shannon says, wouldn't there be a lot of the same groups if we were in the same company? Are we able to merge groups? So here's the thing. There's 4 main types of groups that you can create. So the short version of the answer is no, there won't be a lot of groups that are in the same. Yes, there'll be a lot of same groups inside of the same company, but the groups will be different because your group isn't going to be called Isogenics or Herbalife or World Ventures. There's literally people who do that and they just don't have a lot of success. So there is the examples that we use here today. There's one weight loss group that's called Get Fit, Lose Weight, Have Fun. There's another one that we didn't mention that's called Train Like a Seal. And there's another one that's called Get Fit, Mind, Body, Soul. So those are 3 different groups that are going to attract very different people. So yes, there'll be multiple groups, but remember, each one of the groups is going to select different tags. And so there might be one weight loss group, and the tags you select is like mommy fitness, stroller jogging, fitness as a family. Another group might be the Train Like a Seal group, right? And so now the people that are joining that group are like intense workouts, bodybuilding, muscle building, that type of tags. Somebody else might have a group and their group is about, get fit, lose weight, have fun. And so their groups are like, they go play paintball, they go do archery, they go bowling, they go all kinds of different stuff. So you can have different types of groups and everyone can have their own different type of group doing the kind of stuff that they love. So I know we're like, it's beat it into our head of like duplication, but the downside of that is that we put everyone in the same box and then they end up doing stuff that they don't like. So yes, we want duplication, but the duplication that we want is high level, meaning that what we want to duplicate is we want people on our team to have a list of people and then to follow whatever your company script is when they talk to them. This part doesn't have to be duplication. You can teach people how to do literally their own group with whatever their passion is. And it doesn't even have to be about your business. Somebody could literally have a group that's like Jeep lovers, and they're going to meet a bunch of people who love Jeeps, which has nothing to do with your business, but they're going to get in front of a whole bunch of people that can then become prospects, or a big group of people that are, young professionals, whatever you want. So that is the answer. If you have any more questions, Shannon, that I missed there, you cannot merge groups. You can merge groups, but it's really difficult. It'd be better not to. Such great value. Thank you from Lynn. You're very welcome. Kim says, how to stand out in a big city. So I talked about that a little bit. One of the ways to stand out is the bonus that I showed you, just making your site beautiful. The other way to stand out is I always want to be the biggest group in my city. So if you can't be the biggest group inside of weight loss, then select a niche inside of weight loss and be the biggest in that area. So the way that you stand out is if there's a huge group that's already a weight loss group, then you create a group that's about mommies working out. And now you have the biggest group that's about mom's fitness, and you just meet a whole bunch of other moms. And if you're not a mom, probably wouldn't do that. So that's the other way that you stand out, is you narrow off a section. So in travel, there's Edmonton Single Travelers Meetup. So everyone who joins that are people who are single travelers. And that group now is actually bigger than the main group. And there's people who aren't even single who join it, which is kind of fun. But anyways, that's how you do it. T. Rob says, I will be one of the 10. Fantastic. Melissa says, sold. Looking forward to this. Thanks, Jimmy. You're welcome. Thank you so much for the info. You're welcome. I'm in from Teresa. Awesome. T-Rob, welcome. Welcome to the course. Shannon says, Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so lots of thank yous, but no specific questions. So if you have a specific question, if you've been, if you're in, if you already have a Meetup group and you have some specific questions about your group, type those in. If you don't have a group yet, then I'd love it if you just go ahead and type in any specific questions. I'm going to go through some of the common questions for you here while I wait. And so if you've got any questions, we'll have a little bit of bonus time here for your questions. So go ahead and type those in. Common questions. How many people do I need to be comfortable speaking in front of? My answer is 5. So there's a way on Meetup for your events where you can set a limit on how many people are allowed to come. So if you want to say, hey, Meetup, I only want a maximum of 20 people to come. After that, don't let anyone else RSVP. You can do that, and Meetup will actually create a waiting list for you. And if somebody cancels, then the first person on the waiting list gets their spot. So there's a way for you to limit the size of your group. However, I wouldn't limit your group to anything less than, to your events, I wouldn't limit your event to anything less than 5. If you're not comfortable speaking in front of groups of 5 or more yet, that's cool. I would just grow your leadership and your speaking ability a little bit first. And once you're comfortable with 5, then at that point I would start a Meetup group. And hosting a Meetup group will also help you grow that leadership ability. So you can start it as a smaller number and let it grow from there. And you can kind of cap it if you want to. But I'd say a minimum you want to be is 5. Do I need to be an expert? Absolutely not. There's 4 different ways that you can add value by being a Meetup organizer. One way is fun. One way is by being a connector. One way slash facilitator. One way is by you teaching something. And let's see, we've got fun, teaching, facilitating, and networking. So those are the 4. So literally one style of group is a networking group, and you don't need any skill set to do it. The only thing you need to do is be the organizer of the group and come up with a location. And there's lots of free ones that you can use. And the value that you bring is that people are coming because they want to meet other people. They're not coming because they want to hear you speak or learn from you or anything. They just want to meet other people. And when you do that, you still, as the organizer of their group, get to say some stuff at the beginning. You get everyone's contact information. So one way is by having a networking group, which you don't need to be an expert for. Another way is by adding fun. So one of the fitness groups that I told you about is the fun group, and you don't need any fitness skills. The owner of that group, her name's Kat, literally in the Meetup description, it says, I'm not a personal trainer and I don't have any special fitness training. I'm a regular person on my own weight loss journey, looking for people to do it with. And that's it. So the value she adds is fun. The third way that you can do it is where you are a facilitator, and that's like what David did, where he had somebody come in and that person taught the yoga for him. So he just brings other people in, and that person runs the events for him, and he's just the person who organizes it. And the fourth way is to be a teacher. And so if you want to be a teacher, then you should be an expert. The Train Like a SEAL group is run by somebody who is actually not a SEAL, but he is a police officer, and he teaches. He does the group workouts for everybody who is in the police station that he works at. And one of the trainings he went through was he actually learned from some SEALs. So you don't have to be an expert. One of the 4 ways would require to be an expert. The other 3 ways, if you're not an expert, just choose one of those. And some of the most successful groups are the ones that are all about adventure, having fun, and not being an expert. What do we need for an ad budget? So nothing. So it's going to cost you $10 a month to be an organizer on Meetup, and then you get to tap into Meetup's SEO. So short answer is $10 a month, but you don't have to spend anything on ads. Where do I find people to join my group? Hopefully you don't have that question still. Meetup finds them for you. How much will the training take? I've had people do the training in one day. And literally the way the training is structured is it's me recording myself create a group. So you just hit play, watch it for a couple minutes, hit pause, and then go do it yourself, and then hit play. So that's how much time training will take. The training is also set up in chunks that make a lot of sense. So the first chunk is prepare, and you can do that, however long that you want. The next section is about creating your group, and that one is where you take all the information from your pages that you downloaded, and you fill it out actually on Meetup. And that's the one where there is some urgency. You want to do that all in one day. It'll only take you probably an hour. And by the end of that, once you've done those first two modules, you have a group that's live on Meetup, and people will be joining it. So if you didn't do anything else for a year, in a year from now, you would have a bunch of people who would join that group. Now, if you don't host any events and if you don't need to add any value, you're not going to recruit anybody, but your database is growing because people are just finding you online and joining the group. How much time will the value events take? So once you create your group, I do one event a month, and it's about 3 hours. David does one a week, and his take him about an hour. So it's really up to you. You can do it however you want. If you really enjoy doing it, then you can do more of them. If you're tight on time, then do less. Personally, I like to have more people and a smaller number of events, just because I get more leverage that way. What else do I need? You need a location. There's a bunch of free ones. I have a list of those in the course. You need a Meetup account. It used to be $20 a month. Now it's $10 per Meetup group. And this one's optional, but you might want a CRM or an email software in the future. Once you've got like 2,000 members, it's you don't want to be making calls anymore. It's good to just send out an email. So I use one called ActiveCampaign, which is about $50 a month. And you don't need that right now. And in the beginning, when I didn't have enough leads, it would sound stupid that too many leads is a problem, but it actually can be a problem. I had a stack of forms, and it was like just so many people, it wasn't organized. So yeah, down the road, once your group is bigger, you might want something like that. Kim says, thanks for the training. That's it. Looks like there's no other specific questions. If you've got a specific one, go ahead and type it in. If you have there was a couple people at the beginning that said they had Meetup groups. If you have a Meetup group, I would love to help you with it. So if you have a Meetup group, just type in the name of your group. And if you have any specific questions about how to go. Already about the course? Yeah, there's a few that have already got started. Welcome to those of you who got started. You're certainly welcome to go just start the training. If you have any questions that you want answered live, I'm happy to do that as well. Looks like we're good. I guess we were straightforward. Well, listen, thank you so much. Question that came up is, do we have access to you while taking the course? So you have lifetime access to the course. You don't have I'll break it up into two. So if something's not working, meaning that like the tech isn't working, there's a special way for you to get support on that so that it starts working. If your question is, can you call me and ask me questions whenever you want specific to Meetup? That answer is no. However, one of the bonuses is that we have a private Facebook group that is only for people who have bought. And there's actually a good number of the people that are in there who have taken my course have bigger groups than I do now. So there's lots and lots and lots of great support in there. So if you get stuck somewhere, you can just post it in there, and I pop in there from time to time and answer questions. Usually it's other students that give better answers than I do. So you've got access to that. And a lot of what it is people sharing wins. So whenever something goes really well for somebody, I really encourage people to share wins inside of that group. So that is how you get support. So you kind of get support from me inside of that group. If anything's ever not working, then absolutely there's support around that. And if you're just not happy with it, then there's the 30-day guarantee. Thank you from Jersey. You're very welcome. All right. Sorry, Zoe, if there's some questions. Fantastic. Well, listen, thank you so much for everybody who took the time to be on the webinar today. If you'd like to get started with meetupmarketer.com, you can do that at meetupmarketer.com/custom. Either way, no matter what, just take action on one of the things that we talked about today. Information plus application equals transformation. And if you don't apply, the transformation won't come, and the results you got last year will be the same results that you get this year. So take anything we talked about today. I don't care if it's Meetup, if it's Facebook ads, if it's starting to become a best-selling author, even if it's trade shows or three-way calls, whatever you can do, start moving yourself out of that desperation quadrant towards the star quadrant. And very, very, very much looking forward to seeing your results. And for those of you who got started with Meetup Marketer, welcome. I'm very excited to see you. And I will talk to all of you in the private Facebook group. So I'll see you over there. Thanks so much, everybody, for jumping on. And I'll talk to you soon.